Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I am David Allen, or if you like, you can call me Super Dave. We are here to talk about number 94, and that is mole rats. Look at how creepy and gory and all the possibilities that are in that piece of artwork there going forward with these mole rats. We are going to be doing a deep dive into creepy crawlies and really cool parts of the brand that I love and I want to see more of. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the mole rats than maybe anybody else might have. So to just say off the top, the mole rats did not exist in the original O-ring line, in the vintage line, but there was a lot of other cool stuff, and you can see by my little display here, there's tons of really cool stuff to talk about that we can kind of um, imagine where mole rats are going to be going. And now, couple weeks ago, we did a pre-order for Mole Rats Stage 2, and Lenny and the Hasbro team, classified Hasbro team, intimated that where could the mole rats go from there? Stage 3, stage 4. And that's why we're going to go into some of this really cool stuff that's come out over the decades that is connected in kind of um, a way that is kind of like a familiar way to the mole rats and the idea of the mole rats. So we're going to go into a lot of that before we open up this mole rat. So I have tons of reference material for tons of different characters here that we're going to go into. So one of my favorites was the 2000s. They released the I guess you would call it the zombie viper. He looks like a big zombie. And so I love this. I love zombies. I love the whole idea of zombies. I think it's really cool. And the fact that they incorporated the zombies into G.I. Joe was a really good idea and classified as well. Um, and so this particular one was designed by Corey Cantaloupe, and I had him sign it so you can see his autograph up there. I met him at Joe Fest a while back, and I had him sign it. I realized that he had been the designer of this, and I wanted to get him to sign it, so I did. And so these zombies were kind of loosely connected to, I would say, the G.I. Joe animated series at the time, G.I. Joe Renegades. They had these weird, creepy crawlies and these weird zombies and like energy creatures. And you can see with these tentacles and stuff, there's like energon and there's all kinds of stuff inside of him that is much more deeper storytelling. You can see these little canisters on his back that are in blue that are on there as well. And then he has this mask that comes off, and you can see he's got all kinds of blue, and he looks like a big zombie and everything on him, on his face there. All those blue energon type energy. Um, uh, Kurt, Kurt, bleh, surging through his body and stuff like that. And these different tubes are what um, are giving him that energy. And this was some sort of experiment, obviously, gone wrong by Cobra, because you can see he's got a jumpsuit on, he's got different equipment and stuff like that, that it obviously was some sort of a troop, and that they infected them with this energon, or this whatever this energy that's surging through him is. So then in the 50th anniversary, we got a revisit of that. And so we ended up with a 2-pack of, I guess, Zombie Viper and Zombie Patrols 2-pack, I guess it is. Good morning, Michael Gene Fleming. Thanks for joining us for our monstrous episode of Zombies. Since this is also Halloween this week, I thought, hey, why not talk about creepy crawlies and monsters? A little bit of a fun episode leading into our unboxing of the mole rats. And so they did this 50th anniversary 2-pack of zombies, and they're basically different versions of the zombie that we got, with different interesting uniform stuff on it. G.I. Joe RPG Stories, you're new to the chat. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. Interesting figure, very interesting figure. One of my favorites for the modern era, the zombie vipers and stuff like that. And so obviously this wasn't that far back. And so I know Lenny has worked at Hasbro since about 2008 or so. He worked on Transformers and some other stuff. So he must have had an idea that some of this stuff was out there. And then I know Corey Cantaloupe also worked on the classified line as well. So they must have talked about zombies. They must have talked about creepy crawlies and a lot of that interesting stuff. But this didn't start with the modern era. It actually goes back to the late 80s. First, we have the Toxo Viper. Mine's is a little loose, that's why I left it in its package. The Toxo Viper gave us the first hints that there's something else going on at Cobra that we didn't know about. G.I. Joe RPG Stories, were they in any media or only appeared as figures? The Zombie Vipers, they appeared in the animated series The Renegades, G.I. Joe The Renegades. It went one season, and there's a lot of work that was planned for the second season, and there's a lot of preliminary information and stuff online you can find about the G.I. Joe Renegades second season, and it was going to get further and further down the line, the whole zombie idea and these energon zombie concepts. We're going to get further and further. We never got to that. So that's why I was a little surprised we got the 50th anniversary 2 figure set, because the first one, I understand, it was during Renegades, and this wave of figures, if you look at the back of the package, it shows there's a lot of Renegades characters on the back of this package. There's Cobra Commander, the Cobra Trooper, Storm Shadow, Law and Order, Carl Airtight was all part of that G.I. Joe Renegades animated series. So they did a lot of figures in that style. And so there you go. So this was, I believe, the Toxo Viper was 88, I believe the Toxo Viper came out. But then Hasbro continued that theme of creepy crawlies, and then they did another version of the Toxo Viper, this version of the Toxo Viper there. And then after that, they did the Toxo Zombie. Toxo Zombie. And now this is the first one where we get that it's a zombie kind of a character, because there's bits of his figure that are zombified, and there's bits of parts of his figure that are opened up and disfigured, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like the Toxo Viper that got taken over and turned into a zombie. And now we have the Toxo Zombie. And this is also a color change figure as well. So then there was creepy crawlies like the Monster Viper and the Zombie Viper, and so on and so forth. I'm going to go into a little bit of their histories. I got some of Dan Klingesmith's books out that we can go into some of these guys. Oh, the Monster Viper and the Bio Viper. So there's the Monster Viper and the Bio Viper, and a little bit of history behind those. Says they were done by Kurt Groin. There was no other alternate names. It came out in 1993. It says at a time when the Joe team was incorporating new concepts and features into the Joe brand. One such feature was utilization of Play-Doh as part of the Mega Marine subgroup. The Monster Vipers were originally conceptualized by Kurt while sitting in a meeting doodling. He said the thought behind it was to have a man who became warped and distorted, similar to that of the Golem from the Lord of the Rings, opposed to a small and whippy creature, though he wanted the Monster Viper to be a big and obnoxious creature that could crush his enemies with its enormous fists. One unique characteristic of the Monster Viper was having the ability to create gut bombs out of Play-Doh using molding devices that would flip down from his stomach. The other features of this creature was having a spring-loaded arm that could throw disgusting gut bombs at the Joe team. Following suit with the idea of a monster forming into a grotesque creature, Kurt created the Bio Viper, part of the Mega Marine subgroup. Kurt shared that the concept stemmed from having a toxo waste dump on him and altering his DNA into an octopus bug-like creature. Like Monster Viper, the Bio Viper also had functional features with giant tentacles, and Bio Viper could wrap its enemies when a lever on his back was pulled down. So that was the Bio Viper and the Monster Viper. So getting into a little bit of the other history of some of these characters, we ended up with, let's see. The Toxo Zombies. There's your Toxo Zombie. Good morning, Sean Jones. Thanks for joining the chat again. We're talking about creepy crawlies and all things zombies in the G.I. Joe line, leading up to the unboxing of the Mole Rat. So there's the Toxo Zombie there. Definitely a zombie. Definitely designed to be a zombie there. Let's see. It says alternate names and year release 1992, designed by Kurt Groin. Obviously, Kurt Groin was into monsters and creepy crawlies, and he was trying to push this line. It says, when conceptualizing the Toxo Zombie, Kurt shared that the original idea was that toxins from Cobra leaked into the ground and brought someone back to life as a zombie. This concept transformed into the idea that Toxo Vipers, whose suits were deteriorating and exposed to toxins, would mutate into zombies. So there you go. So there's the Toxo Zombie. And then, let's see, we have next. We have, if I can find it. Where is it? The Toxo Viper. So then we have the Toxo Viper. Oh, I lost my page. Oh well. I'll find it. Lost my page on that. So there's the Toxo Viper. So there it says Sting Bug Heavy Breather Gas Viper. Alternate names, year release 1988. Tom Renck was the designer. I haven't heard that name before. Tom Renck. That's interesting. The Toxo Viper was originally designed to be an elite group of troopers that could go into situations where toxins were utilized to battle the enemy. The suit was created to withstand these dangerous pollutants and had a sophisticated filtration system that would prevent any harmful contaminants from entering the suit. Tom Renck, product designer, shared that the suit was designed to be purple so they would not blend in with others and to send a sign to others that the area they were entering was one to be avoided. So there's that artwork is done by Dave Dorman there. And so there's a little bit of a history and some different turnarounds for the Toxo Zombie. The Toxo Viper. Toxo Viper. I'm getting my names mixed up. And so then we got the, I lost the page that it was on, but I will find it. There it is. The Toxo Viper. So there's your Toxo Viper. There. And so then, alternate names, NA, year release, 1991, designed by Kurt Royne. Toxo Viper received an updated look for the Eco Warriors, putting him in a chemical-resistant outfit and ventilation helmet. Kurt Groin shared that it was illogical to include him in this group of polluters. So there you go. The Toxo Viper got an upgrade, and that's the upgraded version. Now, another item that was kind of part of the unproduced items that G.I. Joe had over the decades was Toxo time bombs. Toxo time bombs was a concept that they were developing in the 90s that never got released. It says alternate names NA, designed by Dave Grober, another designer that I'm not familiar with. On his way home for Christmas, Dave shared that he stopped by a Japanese toy store and came across a little egg toy that had a winding mechanism in it that would allow the egg to crack open and a Godzilla toy would fall out. Using this same idea, Dave created the concept of the Toxo time bombs for the Eco Warriors subset, which consisted of small Toxo vehicles that were hidden inside a great Toxo tank. With a similar winding mechanism to the toy he came across, Dave shared that a hidden key would kick out and the outer shell would explode and a small rolling vehicle would project out, carrying a slime. Of the small rolling vehicles had a bucket that would tip and allow slime to spill out, while the other small rolling vehicles had a canopy that would be removed and reveal a working catapult that would loft slime everywhere. So that's where they get the whole idea of the Toxo, where they spread toxic waste and toxic goo and stuff like that. So there's 3 or 4 different concepts here that Cobra had been developing, and G.I. Joe and the brand teams over the decades have been developing. So then, along with these guys, there was the Mega Viper. There's your Mega Viper. There you go. So Hasbro has been toying with this idea of sludge, with toxins, with energon, with all this stuff for decades. I'm going to give a little bit of a read to the Zombie Viper here and see what it says on the back of the card. There's the back of the card. We give a little bit of a behind the scenes of this. It says Zombie Vipers are Cobra infantry troopers who have been given a mysterious chemical substance, Compound Z, that has turned them into drones. Wiped of all thought, they follow orders mindlessly and cannot be reasoned with or sidetracked. They have retained their skills at combat. In fact, their desire to fight has been increased, making them more dangerous than before. In other words, they are deadly zombie warriors. So Compound Z is where we get the Zombie Vipers. So not only do we have toxins, we have sludge, we have energon, we have Compound Z. The Hasbro brand teams over the decades have been toying with this idea of these creatures, these otherworldly creatures that have been infecting the soldiers with from the experiments that Cobra has been doing for decades. And so that brings us to mole rats. Again, number 94, and you can tell they are basically zombies. I love that purple artwork. It really, really pops off the package. I think it's a really, really good idea, good concept, and I can see where they're going with this. Obviously, we just got the pre-order. Again, I mentioned it earlier for Mole Rats Stage 2, and Lenny and them at the panel said, what's the possibilities? Could we get to Stage 3, Stage 4? And some of those stages, I believe, are some of these concepts that we have right here, where some of these guys have been mutated. Some of these guys have been transformed into creatures of the night and monsters that we fear that go bump at night when we go to sleep. You can't get my monster viper to stay up. Stay there, you. So this is the beginning of that concept. This is the beginning of that thought process and the through line to possibly getting some of these ideas. So again, this is the first time we're opening all these figures up. We have the Target artwork and the QR code to Nowhere. And I think it was somebody in the chat on our last video that suggested that they use these QR codes to do file cards and to show what those tampos, a lot of the tampos are on the figures. So then we have the render on the back with all the equipment, all the interesting stuff, and some of the call outs for the figure. And then we have the designations. Let's see if the designations are on my list here. We'll put that aside for a second. So let's see. We have environmental specialist. There you go. We have that toxic symbol. Yep. Biohazard detection there. Then we have the little box with the line through it, and that's classified because it's hidden. Nobody knows what's going on here. And then we have the atomic symbol, which the atomic symbol is science. So all things that you would expect to have with the mole rats. All cool stuff right there. All the designations. And so then we go around to the front. We get that photography again by Shooting the Galaxy and Matt. And then we have that piece of artwork from the side and the carousel of the accessories. And you can see, again, the through line to this, because this is a Walmart exclusive. So the whole line of Walmart exclusives has been this narrative of the Energon. You can see these little chunks of Energon behind these mole rats in this train cave or background. And so mining background, I should say, a mining background. So these are obviously the guys sent in to get this Energon, but something tragic happened to them, something bad happened to them, and now they've been changed, and we have gotten stage 2 and stage 1. This is stage 1. So let's get him opened up. We'll see what we have in here. Again, this is the first time we're opening all these figures. We started with 00 Snake Eyes. We're now up to 94. We've done 11 vintage package, and we've done some odds and ends with the running variants and the Fortnite Snake Eyes. So we're going to put this aside over here. There. Get it out of the way. And we have his weapons crate there, 94, Cobra, and mole rats. So because there's a lot of stuff on my counter here, I'm going to just put it back there, and we'll get this open. Look how awesome he is. I love this. So future building is another aspect of the G.I. Joe brand that I think we have to we have to be mindful of. We have to be mindful of future building. So I think, oops, I knocked over my zombies. Get back up there, you. Future building of this brand, looking at where the possibilities could be there that the Hasbro team is heading in. And one of those things was when they introduced Nemesis Enforcer, you knew obviously you were going to get the Royal Guard, Pythona, Globulus down the line. It's called future proofing. So you knew you were going to get those. And we've gotten all those things, except we don't know where Globulus is. But I'd be willing to bet that everything I have that we're getting a Globulus figure. There's no doubt about it. So when you look at stuff like Mole Rats and you look at other parts of this brand that they're doing, like the Dreadnoks, you knew we were going to get more Dreadnoks. You knew we were going to get more Crimson. You knew we were going to get more Tiger Force, Python Patrol, Night Force, Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders. All these things we knew we were going to get more of. So the idea of the Mole Rat and this idea, it was obviously we're going to get something down the road from this and some concept that they were going to play around with. And so I think it's really cool with the Energon universe right now that this kind of ties into that a little bit and kind of marries the two concepts. So there's that cool gruesome artwork again. I'm going to put that over there out of the way. And then here's your Mole Rat. I know the Mole Rats are not that popular amongst classified fans right at the moment, and they weren't very happy that we got a second Mole Rat. Now, this Mole Rat, being that it was a Walmart exclusive, was a little bit limited. So Mole Rat Stage 2 now was a mainline figure. It was further down the line than this one. But looking at that head sculpt, you can tell he's really been infected and something's coming out of him. Whatever spores are in the Energon, they affected the human anatomy, and it was able to change this person into this creature, this mole rat creature. And so another part of this is that the Energon parts are glow in the dark, similar to what the these guys were color changing, so you get a different effect with that than you do with glow in the dark. Hey, good morning, Clement. Thank you for joining us again today. So let's get into this guy a little bit. So we got that Cobra Tampo on that side and that Biohazard thing on the side there. And it's the same on that side, the Biohazard thing. There's a little bit of deco, some green deco there and there for his uniform to give some scanning technology and stuff like that. I believe this is a fairly new mold. I don't think this is any reuse at this point. I think this is a new mold. This is a biohazard chemical type suit. So I believe we're going to get more use out of this mold. Characters like Airtight, maybe Eco Warriors characters, Ozone and stuff like that. Those types of things. So I think at some point we will get more use out of this mold. This particular one is a more subdued, like bluish and orangish color. It's not that bright. It's not like the early colors like this. You can tell that is so bright, but these are more subdued color schemes that they gave these. The second one, the Mole Rat version 2 or stage 2, is a much more brighter figure than this. So I'm curious if there's some narrative that they will go into as far as what the difference is other than the stage 2 infections. But looking at that face coming out of that hood there, it is creepy. Look at those eyes. Look at that face. It is nasty and gruesome. And it wants some brains. In zombie movies, they always say, brains, brains. This guy is ready to eat some brains. Bobby World, thank you for joining us today. The newest mole rat, it would have been cool if they would have included one of those mass device containers full of dark energon. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that would have been a better world building to include something like that and give some sort of chemical or element with him. I 100% agree with you. G.I. Joe RPG Stories. Thank you for joining the chat again. Hello and good morning. Maybe we are going back to something like Valor vs. Venom, but with more depth because of the Energon universe. Maybe it's a possibility. Instead of the animal infections where people get changed into different animals, that was Valor vs. Venom, I believe, with a venomous Maximus and a lot of different animal-related Joes and Cobras and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's a possibility, but I think they're going to stick with this Energon concept for the time being, and eventually we'll get closer to these zombies and then these creatures, and maybe more experimentation with other animals, kind of like the scorpion viper, right, or the desert scorpion, or whatever you want to call it. And to a certain extent, the Hydra viper and the snow serpent were all kind of genetic manipulations by Cobra to make their forces more susceptible to those conditions, and make them better and harder to defeat for G.I. Joe. So yeah, there's a possibility. All this science, all this experimentation, it's all connected in the long run. But it's all going to come down to Energon. I think that's going to be your beginning. Or Compound Z with these guys. Or Toxins with these guys. So it's all connected in one big narrative, in my opinion. So I love that he's got all these different secondary units on him, like computer units and stuff like that, to give him connections to his rebreather here to make sure he's safe. But obviously that wasn't enough because he wasn't safe. I love all that detail, and so I can see them really using this for Airtight and some of the Eco Warriors down the road. So let's put him aside, and we will we'll see what the cool stuff that comes with him in his weapons crate. So we got the Cobra and Joe packaging again. There. And then we got the Legal Gargan and Jargon and Indicia. So we'll put that back in there. And we'll put that over there. And so we'll see what's in here. There. Let's get this stuff out of here. All right. So we got some sort of a gun in there. Put that there. We got another gun. Some cool detail on that. We got a backpack with a rebreather. Obviously, that is going to definitely be reused for the Toxo Viper. Maybe the first Toxo Viper, or maybe the second Toxo Viper. Which one do you think we're going to get first? Then there's the canister. See, this one does come with a canister. So I'm wondering if the other one comes with a canister too. And then we have another cool sci-fi looking gun there. And then we have another head with the mask with the goggles there. So I'll go over these. Oops, there goes my Toxo Viper. I'll put him back over here. Put him back over here. A Toxo Zombie. We'll put that over there. We'll go through each of these things as we put them on the figure. And then we have like a Geiger counter type thing that scans. That type of little doodad. All right. And I think, nope. Then we have another rebreather type tube. Little rebreather tube there. So we'll put that there. So I think that does it for all the accessories with Mole Rat. There. Okay. So put that away there. So first off, I think I'm going to leave the zombie head on there. I like the zombified version of him, so I'm going to leave that on there. Um, and let's get to some of his equipment. I'm going to put the backpack on him. I'm going to have it as if he had it on, but then it didn't work very good. So then he has some clips. He has a couple of clips, one there and one there, that you could probably put some of these accessories on. So let's see what's in this little box, little thing here. Open that up. It's a drill. So this must be one of the tools that he used to drill Energon with in the Energon mines that we see him in the package, the Energon mine. So I'm guessing that that goes onto this. Looks like there's a little apparatus there that connects to this. So I'm thinking that it goes on there. No, I don't think so. It looks like it goes on this, because this has a little apparatus thing. So let's try that. Let's put that in there. Yep. So it snaps into that and it becomes that weapon. And look at all the detail on there. There's a bit of second deco on that to make that look like a metal type coloring. And there's a lot of detail in the gun itself as well that I really like. It gives that sci-fi aspect. So again, they're using deco on a lot of these accessories back in the day that they're not doing now in a lot of the figures that they're doing now. So let's see where this tube connects to. I'm guessing this tube goes into the mask. Yeah, goes into the mask here. There. So that helmet with those red goggles and stuff, it kind of looks like Sandman a little bit. I really like it. And that's where that tube connects to. So then there's the tube that's on the backpack that connects to the side over there. So once you put this head on, I'm guessing this tube connects to that. Either that or, yeah, it must. So it connects, it kind of goes like this and it connects to that tube there. I'm not going to be using this head though, because I want to leave the zombie head on there. All right, so then let's see, what do we have? We have this other gun. So it looks like this gun apparatus here is interchangeable. So you can pull the drill off, and you can put this other gun on the top of it. So it might have like lasers or something. So then you have another gun there. But the fact that this is more of a zombie guy, I'm going to use the drill because I think the drill is a little bit more gruesome. And if you catch someone like that with a drill like that, it's going to be a lot more creepy. So I'm going to put the drill in his right hand, see if I can get it in there, and have him like try to use that drill to like drill people. And it is a little bit flimsy. So we are in that mode still where we're getting those accessories that are a little soft. You can see that's a little soft there, and it's not very sturdy. Some of this is, some of it isn't. So there you go. That's the him with his zombie drill. So I might put the other one on the back since there's a little clip on here on the backpack. I'm going to see if I can get that to go on there. And I got it on there. So there you go. So he has different spots for different things on his backpack to carry. So I like that. I like it when they give us those type of things to carry the accessories on him. I think if you're going to give someone something, you should make sure that it can be carried on the figure. And that is one of my most important things about these classified is when they carry everything or most of it, it makes me happy. So there, that gun now is connected there on the backpack. So then we have his Energon. So in this canister, there's some deco on there. There's some purple deco, and it looks like it could be Energon in there. So I'm going to put that on the back of his backpack, like right here. Like he's carrying that Energon. No, it doesn't work. Oh well. I lost his gun. Oh, I lost the gun that I had on there. There's also the Geiger counter. So maybe I can put the Geiger counter in the other hand there, like that. He's still doing the job that he was doing before. He got infected. So he's got the Geiger counter there. Trying to bend his arms. This has got a lot of paint on this. There. All right. So there you go. We got that, and that. And then I would like to have gotten that Energon canister on him somehow. Doesn't seem like... Well, let me try this one more time. Maybe it's just loose. I'm going to try to clip it in there. I'm hoping that it'll stay. Nah, it doesn't want to stay. Well, it kind of stays. Kind of stays on there. There. It'll give that effect of the jingle jangles. You know, when you see in horror movies, you get the jingle jangles and a lot of noise that makes stuff creepier. See if we can get him to stand up. We got him to stand up. I'm going to try and get that gun that I dropped. I don't know where it is. Oh, I just knocked him over. Oh, man. I just knocked my zombie viper over. Or my mole rat over. Just put him there for now. I'm trying to find a gun. And I did find a knife. So that might be that other knife that I lost the other day that I didn't know where it was. Where did that knife go? That gun. I can't really see where that gun went. It's not here. So it's fine. But I got most of this stuff on him. So articulation wise, he's got a lot of the same articulation. He's got the butterflied shoulders. He's got the double pinned elbows, double pinned knees. He's got the thigh and calf articulation. He's got the foot rocker. He's got the second ankle. He's got the wrist. He does not have a second wrist. He's got the ab crunch underneath the secondary there. He's got the normal crotch and leg articulations for him. I like the deco hits where they show like he's wearing like a jumpsuit, like an orange jumpsuit underneath. So there's a lot of different deco hits of that orange and blue connecting to each other. It really looks cool. And there's like a material. It looks like it is definitely like a jumpsuit because there's like a little bit of material inside the uniform, and it looks like it's very realistic. And then there's these different shades of the knee pads and elbow pads that are slightly different than the main colors to give it that effect as if it was wearing knee pads or shoulder pads or what have you, elbow pads. So I think it looks really good. And another thing is the neck. Where you look at the neck, it looks like there's like a breathing mask that's supposed to go on there. So when you get this one, it looks like it's definitely connected to something there. There's an apparatus. There's some deco that surrounds that looks very like a an air connection where you suck the air out and it gives you safety. Obviously, it wasn't safe enough for this mole rat because he has been infected with energon, dark energon. So there you go. Let's. He's got a lot of stuff on him, so he doesn't want to stand very good. So eventually I'll put him on a stand and he'll stand fine. But right at the moment, trying to get him to stand, he doesn't really want to stand. But just kind of lean him over there. My other zombie, Compound Z zombie, fell too. So there you go. So I lost the tube for that mask. So I lost 2 items down here. I'll have to try to dig around to find them. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the possibilities of the zombie vipers, the toxo zombies, the mole rats, the Compound Z, the whole concept, all of that? Do you think that's a cool idea to get into zombies with this line? Or do you think that's something that's just, it's not G.I. Joe? It's not what I want. I want more military. I want more realism. Dave, try zombies with a knife. Okay. I'll put that knife on the zombie. You want me to do that right now? He's got like these tentacles. He's got tentacles, so you can't really do that. Can't really do that with these big tentacle things with the Compound Z. But I can give the knife to this guy. I think that was the knife that I was going through the other day, and I think it was the Alley Viper or the Crimson Alley Viper. You guys said he was supposed to have 2 knives. I think it was Lone Dragon, and I never found my knife. But I just looked down there for the gun that I dropped, and I found this knife. So there you go. G.I. Joe RPG stories. Yeah. I agree with you on that. I think that makes sense. The fact that they're doing all this science, Dr. Mindbender, and they haven't got into a lot of scientists so far with this line. Only Dr. Mindbender. We got 2 different Dr. Mindbenders, but I think there's room for other scientists. I think we should get Dr. Venom. I think we should get other creatures that we haven't gotten, and I think it would be a cool thing. I think it just is going to grow this brand and give you more adversaries, more antagonists, and more stuff for the Joe team to have to combat and fight. How they bring that to life, where it goes, and the different iterations that the possibilities that it could go in are just staggering in my mind. We talked about a bunch of that stuff earlier, but I love it. I love all the creepy crawlies. I love all the science, the evil, the mad science stuff. I just love it. It just imaginary, gives my imagination all kinds of fun things to go to and stuff like that. And I personally love zombies. One of the things I know from interviewing Daryl DePriest, that they were gonna do a AI or a android invasion type storyline with G.I. Joe. He never got to it. It was gonna be after Valor vs. Venom. That was the next theme of the G.I. Joe brand after Valor vs. Venom. We got Noise Attack. We got Joe vs. Cobra. Then we got Valor vs. Venom, and it was going to be the bats attack or AI attack or Android attack or whatever it was. And I'm curious if the Hadro team, being that they have all this information, could go back and do some things that didn't get developed, like the Compound Z idea. Yeah, we got a cool 2 or 3 cool Compound Z Vipers, right? So are they just doing this slowly building this theme, and they're not jumping into it really quickly? Like we got Mole Rats version 1, now we're going to get Mole Rats stage 2, and then 3 and 4, and what after that? It seems like they're trying to complete a couple of themes right now. They kind of are almost done with Cobra-La. We got a couple more Cobra-La, and we're probably going to be done with that theme. We're almost done with the OG-13 theme. So now we're getting into some of the sci-fi stuff. So maybe the Eco Warriors, maybe Cesspool, maybe more Mole Rats and zombified Cobras and Troopers, and maybe a Toxo Zombie version 1 or version 2, and maybe the Toxo Vipers. I mean, not Toxo Zombies. The Toxo Zombies is the Vipers that got changed into them. But I think it's a really cool concept. I really love it. I look forward to what we could get in the future. I wish it would come sooner. I wish that next year, 2026, we got more Toxo type stuff and eco stuff and Energon stuff for this line, because that's what I'm into. That's what I like. I like the military aspect. Don't get me wrong. Don't take me too serious. I do like a lot of this stuff, but it's just, I think it's fun. It's more fun to get things that you can fantasize about and get your energy behind, like these type of ideas, monsters and zombies and creatures, and this mad science. So that's my tirade on mad Cobra science. I hope you guys love this stuff too. It's really cool. So let's see. So we're going into 95 as our next video, and it's going to be a video that has to do with the fan base. The fan base getting involved in creating something, and I hope they continue that with this classified brand. The fan base getting involved. The vintage version was a character that you could do it yourself type of thing. And so that's what we're getting next. And we've already got a little bit of a clue of a helmet that came with a figure a while ago, that kind of gave us a bit of a hint that we're going to be getting that coming soon. And it's coming next with 95. And we will try to do a bit of a deep dive with that as well. We're getting into a lot of these ideas where we could do deep dives into, because there wasn't a lot in the vintage to go back to. So that's what we're going to be doing with the next character, or the next idea, I should say, because it's not necessarily a character per se, because it can be anyone and everyone. So there you go. So hopefully that gives you guys an idea of what we're going to be doing next. I do want to do a couple of things coming up. I do want to do a Skybound Energon Universe Pan episode. I have another episode that I'm planning to do an interview with the gentleman that wrote this book. I just got it in the other day, and it is the Fighting for Freedom, the Unauthorized G.I. Joe chronology. And it is a chronology of all of G.I. Joe, from all the cartoon, the comics, the continuity of the toys. And it breaks it into multiple continuities. So there's different, like the Sigma 6 continuity. There's also the G.I. Joe Extreme continuity. But the primary continuity is the core of this book. And it was done by James McFadden. So it is a very interesting read. I think it's well worth your opportunity to get this. It is on Amazon right now. So this is volume 1, the comic books 1964 to 2008. So it covers quite a lot of stuff in here. It does not cover a lot of the 60s type G.I. Joe. It covers a little bit with Joe Colton and the Adventure Team and stuff, but the DC comics it does not cover. And it does cover like pretty much any toy or any thing that ever came out, records, coloring books, extra weird toys. They had stories with it. It is very comprehensive. And I think it's very worth your efforts to get if you want to know more about this brand, you want to know more about the history and where certain things fit in. This pretty much tells you where things fit in. So I'm going to try to do an interview with James McFadden here soon so we can talk about this book. And I also want to do a comparison, a vehicle comparison for the classified vehicles that we've gotten thus far up till this point. And it'll probably be around the 100 video for the HISS, or I should say the 200 video with the HISS 100 classified number review. It'll be somewhere around that point. So I can compare and contrast vintage vehicles with classified vehicles to show you guys really where that that truly is, so you can understand what I'm talking about when it comes to classified vehicles and the reality of getting them as HasLabs and vehicles and so forth in this line. So we're going to do that comparison video as well coming up. So hopefully all that stuff is going to be coming in the next couple weeks. So keep an eye out for the videos. Like, share, subscribe. Sharing right now is the most important thing to this series because we want to grow. We want to get other people to notice us and get involved in these chats so we can get other points of view and other interesting questions to ask and answer. Michael Gene Fleming. I'm ordering that on PayPal payday. James McFadden's website was how I learned all about the comics in the early 2000s. That's wonderful. I have never met James McFadden before, so this is going to be interesting. I thought I was very well versed in the G.I. Joe community. I know a lot of the people. I've interviewed a lot of people. I've met a lot of the people at conventions over the decades, but I never heard of him before. So this is my first connection to James McFadden. So I want to do an interview with him. If you would like, come join us for that interview episode and ask questions and things like that. And we can enjoy that interview together and get a lot more out of it. So I will let you know in advance when I do that. I'm working on getting that interview soon. So I think that does it for today. I don't think we've got anything else. I hope you guys really enjoyed this deep dive into creepy crawlies and monsters and zombies and Compound Z, mole rats and toxo monsters and all this fun stuff as a fun Halloween creepy crawly episode. Thank you all for joining me in the chat. Thank you as always for everybody that rewatches these videos and comments and adds some contributions and gets involved there. I appreciate that as well. So I'm going to say this is a Cobra video. So we're going to go with Hail Cobra. We'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care.